You've got one life, one chance, one opportunity to wake up every single day and decide what kind of person you are going to be. There are no do-overs, no time machines, no magic buttons that rewind your past. There is only now. And the brutal truth is this: nobody cares about your excuses. The world doesn't stop spinning because you're tired, discouraged, or afraid. You either rise or you stay down. You either move or you stay stuck. So listen carefully. No more excuses. Every morning you have a choice. You can hit snooze and delay your greatness, or you can rise with purpose and power. And if you want to change your life, if you want to succeed at a level most people only dream of, you must make this a rule. Stop negotiating with your potential. No more, maybe later. No more when I feel ready. If it's hard, you do it anyway. If it's uncomfortable, you push through. If it scares you, you lean in. Excuses are subtle lies we tell ourselves to feel better about not taking action. They're comfortable, they're convincing, and they're deadly. Every time you make an excuse, you're choosing to stay in the same place. You're giving away your power, your responsibility, and your future. The truth is, no matter how valid an excuse might feel in the moment, whether it's lack of time, energy, resources, or support, it doesn't change the fact that the world keeps moving. Life doesn't pause to wait for you to feel ready. Opportunities don't sit around patiently while you figure things out. They pass. And the people who rise, who push through, who execute despite the odds, those are the people who win. When you make excuses, you're reinforcing a mindset of limitation. You're telling your subconscious that your circumstances control you rather than the other way around. It becomes a pattern, a habit, and eventually an identity. You begin to expect less from yourself. You lower the bar. You normalize mediocrity. And over time, you forget what it feels like to pursue something with fire and hunger. Excuses numb that desire. They protect your ego, but they rob you of growth. Because every time you choose an excuse over effort, you trade long-term progress for short-term comfort. And the cost of that trade-off is your potential. Excuses are deceptive because they feel real. You can rationalize them with logic. You can build a whole story around why now isn't the right time, why you need more information, more energy, more support. But deep down, you know when you're playing small. You know when you're hiding. You know when you've talked yourself out of something that could have changed your life. And what's worse is that the more you do it, the easier it gets. Eventually, you won't even notice it. You'll just coast, waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. Champions don't operate like that. High performers don't wait for conditions to be ideal. They get moving. They do the work whether they feel like it or not. They show up in the rain, in the pain, in the doubt, in the discomfort. They don't let feelings run their lives. They let discipline lead. That's the difference. And the truth is, it's not about being superhuman. It's about being committed. Committed to the vision, committed to the process, committed to becoming the kind of person who does hard things without needing applause or validation. The kind of person who understands that success is about consistency, not convenience. There will always be reasons to quit, reasons to wait, reasons to doubt. But those who win are the ones who shut those reasons down, who hear the excuses and choose to act anyway, who refuse to be driven by emotion and instead follow through on what they said they would do. That's what separates the average from the elite, not talent, not luck, but the ability to silence the voice that says it's okay to skip today and replace it with the voice that says get up and go. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You don't need more time or better circumstances. What you need is to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm done making excuses. Because every excuse you let slide is a future regret in disguise. And when you realize that the only thing truly standing between you and your goals is your ability to take ownership without excuse, everything changes. Discipline is the engine behind every breakthrough, every success story, every transformation. It's not glamorous, and it doesn't always feel good, but it is always necessary. While comfort whispers for you to stay in bed, discipline tells you to rise. While comfort tells you it's okay to skip a task today, discipline reminds you of the promises you made to yourself. The real enemy of progress isn't failure, it's comfort. And the moment you choose comfort over consistency, you begin to drift away from your goals. Success isn't owned by the most talented or the most intelligent. It belongs to those who consistently do what needs to be done, especially when they don't feel like doing it. Most people believe that success is about motivation, about getting inspired enough to act, but motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the wind. Discipline, on the other hand, is solid. It shows up when you don't want to. It kicks in when your energy is low and your emotions are high. It doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't negotiate. Discipline doesn't rely on circumstances or mood. It thrives in structure, in habit, in the small decisions you make day after day, hour after hour. And if you can develop the habit of choosing discipline over comfort, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when it seems like nobody's watching, you unlock a kind of inner power that most people never experience. Comfort is seductive. It tells you that you've earned a break, even when you haven't done the work. It convinces you that taking it easy is self-care, when sometimes it's actually self-sabotage. The more you feed comfort, the weaker your resilience becomes. You start to rationalize laziness. You start to believe that later is a legitimate plan. But the truth is, later is just another excuse in disguise. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it costs you everything in the long run. It robs you of momentum, of discipline, of self-respect. The more you choose it, the harder it becomes to rise above it. The people who achieve extraordinary results don't necessarily enjoy discipline more than others. They've just made peace with the fact that growth demands it. They don't wake up thrilled to face every obstacle or excited to push their limits. They simply do it because they've trained themselves to value the result more than the resistance. They understand that discipline is the bridge between goals and results, that success isn't built in grand gestures. It's built in the daily grind, in the boring reps, in the quiet consistency that nobody sees, but everybody eventually notices. Choosing discipline means saying no to what's easy so you can say yes to what's meaningful. It means getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. It means doing what others aren't willing to do so you can live the life others only dream about. It's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about waking up each day and deciding, once again, that your dreams are worth more than your distractions, that your future is worth more than temporary relief, that your potential is worth more than your excuses. And every time you make that decision, you build mental muscle, you sharpen your willpower, you rise just a little bit higher than you were the day before. The truth is, you don't need more hacks, more tools, or more inspiration. What you need is the willingness to show up day after day, especially when it's hard. Especially when you don't feel like it, especially when no one is clapping, because that's where character is built. That's where dreams begin to manifest. That's where ordinary people become extraordinary. The way you start your morning determines how you carry yourself for the rest of the day. It sets the rhythm, the tone, and the emotional atmosphere of everything that follows. If you begin your day with energy, intention, and purpose, that momentum carries forward. But if you wake up sluggish, distracted, and passive, your whole day reflects that mindset. Morning is not just a time of day. It's a launch pad, and how you use it matters more than you realize. You don't rise into greatness by accident. You rise into it because you choose to start your day with clarity and commitment, not chaos and comfort. Most people open their eyes and immediately reach for their phone. They scroll, react, absorb noise from the outside world before they've even connected with themselves. They start their day on someone else's terms, feeding on negativity, comparison, and distractions. And then they wonder why they feel anxious, unmotivated, and lost. If you want to control your life, you must first control your morning. You must take charge of the first moments of your day and fill them with intention. because those first few minutes either fuel your fire or smother your spark. Waking up with purpose is not about being a morning person. It's about being a mission-driven person. When you have a vision that excites you, you don't need an alarm to drag you out of bed. You wake up because your purpose pulls you. But even on the days when that spark feels dim, the habit of showing up, of getting up strong, builds a powerful discipline in you. You train your mind to win the battle first thing in the morning. And if you win that first battle, getting out of bed with purpose, doing the things you promised yourself you would do, you create a ripple effect of self-respect and momentum throughout your day. How you speak to yourself in the morning shapes your inner dialogue all day long. If you wake up complaining, dreading what's ahead, or doubting your strength, you program your mind to expect a struggle. But if you wake up and immediately affirm your power, speak life into your goals, remind yourself of your strength, you set a tone of resilience and confidence. You tell yourself, today I lead. Today I show up strong. Today I don't shrink back. And that message becomes a shield when challenges come. Every morning is a new chance, a fresh start, a reset button. But most people treat it like just another drag of routine. They snooze their alarms, rush through their tasks, and allow the outside world to dictate their focus. What they don't realize is that the first hour of the day holds the power to define their mood, their energy, and their mindset. That's why the most successful people in the world guard their mornings fiercely. They know that a strong morning isn't just about productivity, it's about identity. It's about reminding yourself first thing who you are, what you stand for, and why you refuse to live a life of mediocrity. Morning. The morning is a mirror of your mindset. And if you want to change your life, change how you wake up. Start with gratitude, start with movement, start with silence and intention. Stop reacting and start leading. Don't let your first thoughts be of worry or doubt. Let them be of power and purpose. Because how you start your day is how you build your life. The person you want to become doesn't hit snooze. The person you want to become gets up, gets focused, and gets after it every single morning. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you dream about. No one is going to do the work for you, solve your problems, or carry your burdens. And once you truly understand that, everything changes. The day you decide to own your life, to take full responsibility for your choices, your mindset, your results, is the day you begin to unlock your true power. It's not about blaming others or waiting for someone else to fix things. It's about stepping up and saying, this is my life. If it's going to change, it's up to me. Ownership is the foundation of transformation. It requires brutal honesty with yourself. It means looking at your results and asking, what part of this did I create, allow, or ignore? That question is powerful because it puts you in control. When you stop pointing fingers at your past, your parents, your boss, or the world around you, you stop giving them power over your future. Victimhood feels comfortable because it removes responsibility, but it also removes the ability to change. Ownership might be uncomfortable, but it gives you the one thing you need more than anything: control over your direction. When you own your life, you stop waiting. You stop waiting for the right time, the perfect conditions, or someone to believe in you. You realize that waiting is just another word for wasting. The clock is ticking and your potential isn't going to fulfill itself. You either step into it or you stay stuck. Most people spend their lives hoping someone will come along and choose them, recognize them, or rescue them. But the truth is, you have to choose yourself. You have to decide that your life matters enough to do the hard work, to face the truth, to grow, to evolve, to become the kind of person who doesn't need external permission to succeed. Owning your life means you take responsibility, not only for your actions, it means you stop letting circumstances, people, or emotions dictate your behavior. It's easy to blame the outside world for how you feel inside, but growth comes when you learn to master your emotions instead of being ruled by them. When someone disrespects you, you respond with strength, not victimhood. When life throws setbacks at you, you learn from them instead of being destroyed by them. When things don't go your way, you adapt, adjust, and keep moving forward. Responsibility is not about shame or guilt. It's about empowerment. It's about owning your decisions, your mindset, and your energy every single day. It's realizing that you have the power to change your thoughts, change your habits, and ultimately change your life. You are not helpless. You are not stuck. You are not defined by your past unless you choose to be. Every day you wake up is a new opportunity to take control, to take action, to write a new chapter. But only if you're willing to stop blaming and start building. When you make excuses, you give away control. When you blame others, you delay your breakthrough. When you wait for someone else to make the first move, you stay stuck. But when you take ownership, full, unapologetic, fearless ownership, you take the first step toward freedom. You begin to build confidence, clarity, and strength. You stop waiting for change and become the one who creates it. That's when everything starts to shift. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Not because things outside of you improved, but because you decided to lead yourself from the inside. Ownership is the beginning of personal power, and without it, nothing else truly sticks. The words you speak to yourself shape the world you live in. Every thought, every internal dialogue, every sentence you whisper in the silence of your mind is programming your brain either to rise or retreat. If you constantly say things like, I can't, I'm tired, I'm not good enough, or nothing ever works for me, you're not just expressing feelings, you're building beliefs. And beliefs become behavior. The language you use becomes the identity you reinforce. If you want to change your life, you have to first change your language, because nothing shifts on the outside until it shifts on the inside. Most people don't even realize the damage their words are doing. They speak with limitation, with fear, with defeat, and then wonder why their life doesn't move forward. You can't build a strong life with weak language. You can't expect abundance while constantly affirming lack. You can't step into your full power while telling yourself you're broken. Your brain listens to everything you say, especially when you're saying it to yourself. So, when your internal script is filled with doubt, blame, excuses, and negativity, your actions will match and your life will reflect that internal chaos. Powerful people speak with intention. They don't deny their problems, but they refuse to let their language make those problems permanent. Instead of saying, I always mess things up, they say, I'm learning and improving. Instead of saying, I'll never figure this out, they say, I haven't figured it out yet. That small shift in language makes a massive shift in mindset. It turns failure into feedback. It turns obstacles into growth. And over time, it creates a mindset that is resilient, adaptable, and unshakable. Language creates identity. Every time you say, I'm just not that type of person, you're locking yourself in a box. You're limiting what's possible based on old patterns. But growth requires you to challenge those labels, to stop saying, I'm lazy, and start saying, I'm building discipline, to stop saying, I'm stuck, and start saying, I'm in transition. Words are not just expressions, they're instructions. They tell your mind what to believe, your body how to feel, and your actions what direction to take. That's why it's not enough to just think positively now and then. You have to speak powerfully every single day. You have to be your own greatest coach, not your harshest critic. That doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means reminding yourself of who you are, even when things aren't. It means speaking life into your goals when your circumstances feel lifeless. It means saying, I will rise even when you feel like you're sinking, because your words are either building the foundation of your future or reinforcing the prison of your past. Every sentence is a seed. Plant the ones that grow strength, clarity, and confidence. The language you use also affects how others see you. If you constantly speak as though you're helpless, overwhelmed, or stuck, people will treat you accordingly. But if you speak with clarity, direction, and conviction, even before you fully believe it, you start to change not only how others see you, but how you see yourself. You begin to grow into the identity you speak over your life. This is not fake confidence. It's the beginning of real transformation. You're not lying to yourself. You're leading yourself. You're declaring what's possible before the evidence appears. That's how every great breakthrough starts. Not with proof, but with a declaration. Not with certainty, but with bold, intentional words that shape belief. The life you want begins with the language you choose. Every time you speak, you are either reinforcing your fears or building your future. Choose wisely, speak powerfully, and watch how your entire world begins to shift around you. Success is not built in random bursts of energy or moments of inspiration. It's built in routine, in the repetitive habits you commit to every single day. Greatness isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you consistently show up for. The most successful people in the world aren't always the most talented or the most gifted. They are simply the most consistent. They do what needs to be done, even when the excitement wears off, even when no one is watching, even when progress feels invisible. Discipline and routine are the quiet engines behind every major transformation. Most people fail not because they lack goals, but because they lack the consistency to achieve them. They start strong, full of motivation and energy, but as soon as life gets hard or boring, they fall off. They don't realize that the magic is in the mundane. It's in showing up when you don't feel like it. It's in choosing to push through the resistance day after day until results finally start to appear. Consistency is about doing the small things right so that the big things eventually fall into place. It's not about being perfect. It's about being relentless. Building habits that support your vision is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. Because once your habits are aligned with your goals, you don't have to rely on motivation anymore. You don't need to talk yourself into showing up. You just do it. Because it's who you are now, it becomes automatic. And that's where the shift happens. When the actions that used to feel hard become normal, when what once required force now flows from identity, that's when momentum kicks in. That's when you stop surviving and start evolving. The problem is most people don't give their habits enough time to create results. They quit too early. They expect to see progress after a week or a month, and when they don't, they give up. But habits are seeds, and seeds don't grow into trees overnight. You have to water them, protect them, and nurture them, especially when nothing seems to be happening. It's in the invisible work, the behind-the-scenes grind, that transformation is taking place. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it isn't working. Stay consistent and the results will come. There's a difference between being busy and being consistent. You can fill your day with tasks and still make no progress if your actions aren't aligned with your goals. Consistency isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters over and over again. It's about locking in the routines that move you forward, even when they feel repetitive. Even when they're not exciting. Because the truth is, excellence isn't found in occasional brilliance. It's found in repeated discipline. It's the boring stuff, the early mornings, the focused hours, the small improvements that no one notices, but everyone eventually sees. Consistency also builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on a habit, you prove to yourself that you're reliable, that you can count on your own word. And that trust compounds over time. It becomes confidence. It becomes momentum. You stop doubting your ability to change because your actions are providing proof. And the more consistent you are, the less you care about the opinions or approval of others. Because you're not chasing quick wins. You're playing the long game. You're building something real, something sustainable. Even when motivation fades, even when the excitement dies, even when the results are slow, consistency is what keeps you moving. It's not about how fast you go. It's about not stopping. Every day you show up, you stack another brick in the foundation of your future. It might not look like much in the moment, but over time, it becomes a fortress of discipline, identity, and strength. And that's how ordinary people become unstoppable. Not by doing everything at once, but by doing the right things over and over again. The people you surround yourself with either pull you forward or hold you back. Your environment is shaping your mindset more than you realize. You've become like the voices you hear the most, the energy you feel the most, and the standards you're exposed to every single day. If you're surrounded by people who constantly complain, who make excuses, who mock ambition and reject growth, then that energy starts to seep into you. It becomes harder to rise when everyone around you is content with staying small. And before you know it, you start lowering your standards to match your surroundings. Success requires alignment, and that alignment begins with your circle. You can't expect to build a strong, focused, high-performing life while keeping close ties with those who drain your energy, distract your mind, and discourage your progress. Some people are not bad people. They're just not growing. And if you're trying to grow, that gap will always create tension. Growth exposes misalignment. It reveals who's moving forward and who's standing still. And at some point, you have to choose what matters more, staying comfortable in familiar company or stepping boldly into your future, even if it means walking alone for a while. Elevation requires separation. That doesn't mean you become arrogant or cut off every relationship, but it does mean you become intentional. You start spending less time around those who settle for less and more time seeking those who strive for more. You become protective of your space. You guard your focus because you understand that the wrong environment will suffocate your ambition while the right one will set it on fire. And when you're serious about your goals, you can't afford to let anyone plant seeds of doubt in your garden of discipline. Sometimes the hardest part of growth isn't the work itself. It's outgrowing people you once felt deeply connected to. But growth is not about loyalty to your past. It's about commitment to your potential. You don't have to hate where you came from to outgrow it. You don't have to feel guilty for wanting more, demanding better, or walking a different path. Your journey is sacred, and if someone truly values you, they will either grow with you or respect your growth. But if someone consistently tries to dim your light, question your vision, or distract you from your mission, that's not loyalty, that's limitation. The right people don't compete with you, they challenge you. They celebrate your wins and hold you accountable to your words. They don't let you make excuses or fall back into comfort. Being in the right environment doesn't mean you're always being praised. It means you're always being sharpened. It's being around those who remind you of your greatness, even when you forget, who expect more from you because they see what you're capable of, who push you, stretch you, and support you, not because they want something from you, but because they want the best for you. You don't need a crowd. You need alignment. A few solid voices in your corner are more powerful than 100 empty cheers. Quality over quantity. Intentional connection over casual comfort. If you're surrounded by people who don't believe in goals, who mock progress, who distract you more than they build you, you're not just wasting time, you're risking your future. Because every day you allow that energy into your life, it pulls you away from your purpose. And your purpose is too valuable to be compromised by convenience. It's okay to outgrow old circles.